Hey guys, what is going on? It is me, Punky Yoshi, or Alberto. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be discussing and talking all about Wallace and Gromit because they recently just came out with a new trailer. Honestly, at first impressions, this could be a very good movie. Wallace and Gromit as a franchise has yet to have like a really big miss in their installments. As many of you guys may or may not know, hi, my name is Punky Yoshi. I am a big animation fan. I love everything animation and I will continue to until I die. I will most likely be making a film use for the new Moana movie too when it comes out. But apart from being an animation fan, I am also a really avid Wallace and Gromit fan. My love for Wallace and Gromit started around the mid 2000s when my parents bought me the VHS tapes from a thrift store. It was a pack that came with a Grande Out, the wrong trousers, and a close shave. And honestly, I remember popping those VHSs in and watching it over and over again. I freaking adored them. I thought the claymation was so awesome. It was so fresh, new, different. And even though A Grande Out came out in 1989, as a 2002 baby, I still loved the movie and I couldn't get enough of it. I loved Wallace and Gromit growing up. Partially too also because of Chicken Run, and Chicken Run was such a big part of my childhood. So it kind of put the two and two together. I also recently just went back and watched the complete series on Prime Video, which has the three that I just mentioned, and it has another one that I've never seen before and I didn't even know existed, which was A Matter of Loaf and Death, which came out I think in 2008, and it wasn't a part of the VHS tapes because obviously it came out after that collection came out. We also got the 2003 Curse of the Were-Rabbits, which actually won an Oscar, and it was I think the second or third movie in animation history to win an Oscar, which is actually pretty sick. I also had Curse of the Were-Rabbit on DVD, and I watched that one like a million times as a kid. And now it's on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, you can watch that one. I also watched it on Netflix, but as some of you may or may not know, I have kind of beef with Netflix, so I had to borrow my friend's Netflix in order for me to watch the movie. I still refuse to pay for Netflix because of their money gouging, and I don't like their practices, to be honest. I will find a way to pirate stuff, or I'll just, not watch it. That's how I feel about Netflix. If you guys want to know more about my beef with Netflix, you should watch this video right here. I'll plug it in. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, I digress. Going back and rewatching the original short films was such a blast. I love the sheer innovation and creativity from Nick Park, which would go on and be a big figure in Aardman Productions, which would create a plethora of movies. And in the early 2000s, they had a really big partnership with DreamWorks. That partnership ended really horribly after one of their movies bombed in the box office, and it kind of just ruined their reputation a little bit. We'll talk more about that in a second. As some of you guys may or may not know, Nick Park, the creator of Wallace and Gromit, created A Grande Out, the first Wallace and Gromit short film, as a student film in college. But the project became so extensive and time consuming that he had to bring in another studio, which was small at the time, Aardman, to fund the film. This is honestly such an inspiration to me. As someone who just graduated from college and is just a big fan of animation and the film industry, it's just so inspiring to see this type of stuff happen. People like Nick Park, Steven Hillenburg, Matt Groening, J.G. Quintel, Pendleton Ward are some of my biggest inspirations, for real. They've done something that I can't put into words. I have a couple of friends who say that they hate the animation style from Wallace and Gromit, Shaun the Sheep, or Chicken Run, or Flushed Away even though that was not even claymation, that was like half claymation, half 2D animation kind of thing. But they hate the animation style because they said it scared them as kids. And honestly, I can kind of see that. But that was not the case for me. I freaking loved and adored these films. The only animation that actually kind of scared me as a kid was probably Courage the Cowardly Dog. But that was for a different reason. Just because I hate horror, and I was kind of leaning into that. I feel like the early Wallace and Gromit movies have a certain aura to them. And that's just kind of what drags me into it. It just can't be replicated, man. And it's why everyone loves Aardman Productions / Nick Park, because they're able to do this type of stuff. The humor in Wallace and Gromit in general is very British, and I've heard people complain on the internet that they've kind of whitewashed / Americanized the humor in their more recent installments, which I can kind of see, but they're trying to get a bigger audience, and I'm part of that audience because I'm American. This movie will be coming out in the UK on December 18, and I think it will be coming out in the US on January 1st. But if you're British, you can go onto BBC on Christmas Day, and they should have Wallace and Gromit playing at a certain time. I'm not entirely sure, but they'll have Wallace and Gromit there, which is so awesome because that's one of the traditions that they have. Nick Park always puts Wallace and Gromit on Christmas Day, whatever year that they release something. So if you're British, I think you're going to be able to watch this movie first. and then it comes to us after. The teaser trailer came out like a couple weeks ago, and it was super random, out of the blue. No one was expecting it, including me. And I'm a person that actually keeps up with Wallace and Gromit. The teaser trailer was pretty awesome. It was very short, but it introduced the villain of the movie, which was so freaking sick. It's gonna be a returning character from The Wrong Trousers, Feathers McGraw, which is a penguin that caused so much mischief in that movie. There's a super famous train sequence scene in that movie that's part of film history at this point. And so many stills from the movie are just like in the internet and a part of culture now. Now we have the first official trailer, which I mentioned at the beginning of this video. And this new installment is called Vengeance Most Foul. I just love the names. A Matter of Life and Death, A Close Shave, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, Vengeance Most Foul, A Grand Day Out. They just have so much aura to them. I love it so much. as you can tell already. Now we come into the part where I'm actually worried about this. As you may have seen, this is a Netflix original. And you know my beef with Netflix. I fucking hate Netflix. I straight up am a strong advocate anti-Netflix here. I get that they've made some crazy projects, and I'm not gonna lie, I love some of the stuff they've done, but there's just so much scumminess going on in there that it just makes me sad. They are raising the prices almost every 6 months. They now have ad plans, which most people are going to, because the price of Netflix with no ads is so expensive for no reason. And I do understand that inflation is a thing, and in order for these big production series to happen, you need to have money. So I get that if there wasn't for subscriptions, then we wouldn't have Avatar or Stranger Things or whatever, or even this movie. But that still doesn't excuse some of the practices, like I mentioned in my video where I diss Netflix. Honestly, if I was a rapper, I'd probably just be dissing Netflix left and right, dropping diss after diss. I'm Kendrick and Netflix is Drake. But I digress. The fact that they're even able to have a platform to stand on makes me happy. So I'm grateful for Netflix for even being able to do this, because they're giving me more Wallace and Gromit content, and I'm here to absorb that. Like I said before, I am a big Aardman fan. I watched almost every one of their movies, and I love every single one of them. Like Pirates, a lot of people don't know about Pirates. That movie's great, and I still love that movie to this day. Early Man. Earlier I mentioned that there was a movie that kind of ruined Aardman's reputation with DreamWorks, and that was Early Man. So Early Man dropped with DreamWorks and Aardman, and it was the last one that they collaborated with before they sold out to Netflix. That's because Early Man flopped really bad in the box office. The marketing was not good, and the movie itself, I liked it actually. I still like that movie to this day. The premise is a little weird. It's about cavemen and soccer with a little bit of like Iron Age stuff in it, but even if you go back and watch Early Man, I feel like if you like Wallace and Gromit, you'll like Early Man, if you know what I mean. Sadly, this does mean that there will be no more theatrical releases for Aardman Productions, and this honestly makes me very sad because it's an art form and it's one of the most unique pieces of media that I've ever seen in my entire life, and it just sucks that this is the way that things have to be. Continuing on this train of sadness, I honestly am very sad because, as many of you guys may know, they released a second Chicken Run movie, Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget, and to be honest, I did not like this movie. That may be a little controversial, or might not be, I don't know. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all, as someone who loves the first movie too, I thought it was a very sad sequel. And that's why I'm actually scared for this movie. Because Dawn of the Nugget was the first Netflix original Aardman production. Honestly, I can see where they cut corners, especially on the backgrounds. They just feel very CGI heavy. And a lot of the Aardman production, like claymation, is lost in this movie. It is way too bright, way too colorful. And I get it, this is made for kids, but it's just too much. The original Chicken Run has so much darkness and aura to it that it literally feels like a concentration camp, and it's very dark, and there's a killing. They're literally prisoners, and you literally feel like you're in an encampment. You can see where they gathered inspiration from the Holocaust into Chicken Run. So there's very dark themes in there, and even as a kids movie, it's still very dark, which is why I don't excuse Dawn of the Nugget for being very, very kid-like. Kind of feels like if Chicken Run and Coco Melon had a baby. That's Dawn of the Nugget. And honestly, from the trailers of Vengeance Most Foul, first impressions, I can say I love the animation, and it does look clay. I can't tell if there's any CGI in it, which kind of scares me because we're getting into AI shit, and it's like blurring now. I'm losing my eyesight. Kind of. It feels like I'm watching in a pitch dark room trying to grab something because I can't see what's going on. That's not to say that the CGI is bad, and I get you gotta cut corners, gotta cut costs, but this is Aardman, and this is his art. I don't want Netflix to ruin that. This is all being very negative, But I promise you, this is coming from a place of love because I love Wallace and Gromit. Stop motion animation itself is my favorite genre in animation, I think. I might change that later on, but I do love this format. And so far, the story seems very solid, and I'm genuinely excited to watch this movie. I love the villains, I love the gnomes, and I love how Wallace is back to his inventing. It's just so fun. If you haven't already, go watch Wallace and Gromit on Prime Video and Curse of the Brer Rabbit on Netflix, please. And let me know in the comments if you guys have never seen Wallace and Gromit and this video kind of inspired you to go watch it, because I do love this series a lot. If this movie does well, I hope we can get a full theatrical release for the next Wallace and Gromit movie, because I would love that. As always, guys, I'm going to wrap it up for today. This channel is growing a little bit. I want to thank you guys so much for the views, for the likes, and for the subscriptions. I love you guys all. It means the world to me. My name is Punkyoshi or Alberto. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.